שלום לך אהובה, ברוכה הבאה לבמה לרגישות, המרחב שיוציא אותך מהישרדות, ממצוקה, יסביר לך בדיוק מה את חווה כרגע ויגרום לך לבחור בחירה שלמה. כן, גם אם את רגישה מאוד. אני שחר משה, יוצרת ומנחת הפודקאסט הזה, עובדת עם נשים שמרגישות שהן לא מצליחות לצאת מהלופ של ההישרדות והמצוקה, מלמדת אותם להבין את עצמן באמת, לשנות את השיח הפנימי שלהן ולצאת אל העולם עם בחירה מחודשת ועם יכולת להגשים את החלומות ואת הערכים החשובים להן. בפרק הנוכחי אני מארחת את שרקה, חברה וקולגה ממש מיוחדת שלי שעובדת עם כלים רגישים לטראומה, גם כן דרך הגוף בצורה סומטית. את הפרק הזה החלטנו ליצור באנגלית כי זו השפה שבה אנחנו מתקשרות. שפת האם שלי היא עברית, שפת האם של שרקה היא צ'כית, והאופן שבו אנחנו יכולות להיפגש הוא דרך השפה הבינלאומית הזאת. אני עושה לך הקדמה קטנה לפרק כדי שיהיה לך יותר נוח להקשיב לו. אז בפרק אנחנו מדברות על ללמוד ולרכוש שפה חדשה, בין אם היא שפה מילולית ובין אם היא שפה גופנית או איזשהו הרגל שאנחנו רוצות לרכוש לעצמנו. מה האתגרים שיש לנו בדרך כשאנחנו הולכות לרכוש, ומה הם הכלים, גם הגופניים וגם התודעתיים, שממש יעזרו לנו לבסס שפה חדשה או הרגל חדש בתוכנו, בתוך החיים שלנו. אז אני ממש מתרגשת שאת כאן, זו הפעם הראשונה שאני מצלמת פרק באנגלית, והנה אנחנו מתחילות. I'll say that I'm quite nervous right now. We turn off the air conditioning in the middle of Israeli summer, so we are here sweating. The possibility of creating the episode in a language that is not my native one took the floor under my feet, and I'm not feeling so secure, even though I really know what I want to say right now, and I really have the intention of what I want to create with you in this episode. So I think that this nervous that I'm feeling right now is really the essence of what we're trying to talk about and to give the listeners. I'll say that I invited today Sharka to have that conversation with me. We had a connection a few months ago, and we realized how much language it's something that we want to share and talk about. So I'm so glad that you're here and we're doing it. So hello, hi.
Hi Shachar, hi everyone. Thank you for having me. And yeah, I thought that you will say we here dripping the sweat on the floor as we are sweating here, but no, I think
the sacrifices must be
to be heard. Sacrifices to be heard.
Exactly.
Thank you for having me, inviting me here. I'm really grateful to be here. English is also not my mother tongue, but I feel still more in ease to talk in English, even though I've been in Israel like almost 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm learning Hebrew, I operate in Hebrew sometimes, but as you said, it has many challenges, and I think it will be interesting to explore this together.
Yeah.
Also from the perspective of the nervous system, and maybe also how we as highly sensitive women are processing that, or what is the specifics?
Absolutely. Maybe you'll tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, it's really interesting that you're here for a decade and where you came from, and maybe how it was for you landing here in the beginning of your journey in Israel.
Landing in Holy Land.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, if you say decade, I touched it. It's sounds long time, but yeah, it's like quarter of my life. I've been in Israel basically, and I came originally from Czechia. I was born in Czechoslovakia when it was Czechoslovakia, and yeah, my partner is Israeli. So after a year of ping pong kind of long distance relationship, we decided we move together, and we chose to live together here in Israel, and it has been beautiful, but also it had many challenges. And yeah, like already in Czechia, I was working like therapeutically with people. I started as the yoga teacher, and then I started to be trauma sensitive yoga facilitator, and through that, already here in Israel, I learned somatic experiencing and somatic coaching for women. So this is what I do these days, mostly working with highly sensitive women and women who go through transitions like people who speak English usually are those who made Aliyah, who came to Israel recently. So like we are addressing a lot of also these cultural differences or other challenges that these transitions are bringing. And maybe naturally, as I am myself highly sensitive person, I'm attracting also women like this. So I think in this we are like sharing the similar experience maybe.
Yeah, which is also something that's important when we speak about language, the sense of comfortability, like being comfortable around something and maybe find common ground.
Very much so. Yeah, I totally agree. And I feel like, we are like attracting people who are in some way resonating with us or who are on the similar wavelength.
Yeah.
And I feel that also going through these transitions, like, okay, we change in a way our identity as well. It's kind of, I don't know, if someone comes to the new country and in their native language they are smart, witty, or using sarcasm or very nuanced, very sophisticated, and suddenly all this disappears. It is challenging to get it or build it anew, and I feel also with the new language we are building sort of new identity in the way, which can bring some challenges as well, and it can help us to maybe express ourselves more as we are in the culture that is not our default, that we can really consciously choose. But it has also many challenges, like that we are facing small things, even as you mentioned, like not only the vocabulary, but also how people relate to each other, like the proximity, the pace of speaking,
Touching,
personal
really
space.
Exactly.
So many new things, and like all this, our nervous system is registering, right, and kind of responding to.
Yeah. Do you have something like that you remember, like from the beginning of your time here in Israel, that was like, wow, this is really new to me. What are those people? What is this culture?
For sure. Like, okay, in Czechia, my family is rather small. Okay, I have 2 sisters, about a few cousins, but my partner, he has like 100 cousins, I think, something like this. So the family gatherings, they are looking like a big, massive balagan, big party of people speaking one over each other, kind of interrupting each other, being loud, laughing and shouting sometimes, like from the good place. But it's totally different than what I was used to. And I found myself in the middle of the family gathering, like people who speak different language that I don't understand, Hebrew, and very loud, very disorienting kind of.
Wow.
And I just was feeling, okay, I want to go to the forest or put my head to the sea for a moment. Like it can be overwhelming.
And from the nervous system point of view, how do you explain this kind of situations?
Like, I think like our nervous system is all the time mapping, like the neuroception or the perception of the danger is like all the time at the background, like it's unconscious. And if like the nervous system likes the predictability or being oriented, and suddenly if we are in the new environment, like, and there are not many anchors what we can orient into, it can become overwhelming. It can become like, it can be read through the nervous system as danger, or like too much unknown, too much unpredictable. So I think that especially people who are highly sensitive, who maybe are receiving even more information from the environment than people who are, let's say, like in the terms of the dandelion and orchid theory, they would be like dandelions, people who are fine with going through things, adapting to the environment.
Yeah, my partner, one of them. It's like he just goes after like a 10-hour flight to a new place, and he's just like, okay, let's just go grab a coffee. And I'm like, no,
I need to rest.
no, I need to spend like 10 days inside of a closed space right now and to just be quiet.
To decompress.
To decompress, yeah.
So I think that there is also difference between the nervous systems on the individual level, right? I remember also like my partner was telling me in this event when I was saying, okay, it's maybe a little too much for me. He said, just filter it. And I was like, okay, I wish to know how to filter these things. Like I don't have the ability to filter. And I thought, okay, maybe something is wrong with me, or something is like I need to learn to like cope better. But yeah, I think later I learned to cope better, that's true, but also I realized I also want to choose the environments where I can soften, where I can decompress, where I don't need to be hyper responsive to everything, where I can like lean back a little bit.
Absolutely. And it's also made me think about the strategy that I have inside of like immediately going into stress and pressure, which is also a sign from the nervous system that it's feeling unsafe. But if I know that this is what happens to me right now, I know that I'm like that, and maybe accepting it and working with it, it can also help through the experience. Like,
totally.
Yeah.
I think that's so true and so important. I feel, especially in the times when the outer environment is unpredictable, or it's wild, or it's new, like these inner anchors are like those places where we can really regulate or find the familiarity. So I feel also here the somatic practices or mantra or some yoga, breathing practices, whatever works for the person, can be really useful. That like something that is like the anchor inside that we can carry around wherever we go in those like wild waters in the environments where we don't have so many anchors outside.
Absolutely. And I stuck with the word filtering, what your partner said to you. Was it something that you were able to do eventually? Like, how do you...
It's a good question. Like, I feel that I will never filter that well as my partner, let's say. That like he can like just ignore big part of it and focus on something specific. I think that this is a little bit out of the reach, and I also think it's this setup of the nervous system that it's really not a fault, but like the inner setup that on the other hand maybe allows more sensitive people like to be more creative in sometimes, or to feel more like a little deeper, or to attune more, which is like very important, let's say, in the work we are doing, like therapeutic work. I guess that maybe to some extent I learned to filter, but I think even more I learned to kind of decompress or oscillate between like being in the social or like some more intense environment, and then knowing, okay, after this I need to retreat, I need to have like a little bit of nature, or go for a walk at the sea, or having a cup of tea at home with no stimulation, and then I can go out again. So it's like more this like flow that is going in and out, that it's not overwhelming.
And it's a good thing to remember when you're approaching anything new, that you learn through experience. I mean, we can talk as much as we want, but in reality we need to go to the family gathering with the 100 people, and then go again and again, and then realize and learn how to decompress better, or what anchors do I have to have while doing this, which is something that many of us are like locked sometimes in the perspective of if it's not perfect, that I won't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's the opposite of what we're trying to say in this episode. Like everything of learning and while adapting and coping to a new language or a new behavior, it's through practice and through exploration and through doing it again and again and making those, I'm saying like with my hands, like mistakes.
Mm-hmm. 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 Definitely. I think that it is really not about avoiding things and like practicing inside of your room to the perfection and then thinking, okay, I will be able to go out there and like feel comfortable. But it's really like in somatic experiencing or in somatic practices, like we use this word titration, right? Like kind of exposing ourselves to a little amount of that and then coming back and then again a little more and then coming back. So the system can learn that we have relative safety when we do that, that nothing happens if we make this mistake or that we are not perfect. And eventually I think this like felt sense of safety is not created through the perfection, but rather through really like experiencing that we are okay to be imperfect, that like that it's safe enough to be imperfect in this specific environment.
Yeah, and I
So-
think this is sometimes the hardest part, like
It
letting
is.
go of the identity, as you said at the beginning, or the perspective. I think as much as I'm doing right now, because like while recording, I'm still in that state or in that thought that I'm not doing it well enough while speaking to you, while recording right now. It's something that we I don't know, feel like we must let go of to really learn in a way that is honoring our nervous system. Because if I'm learning from like pressure, then what I'm learning is pressure. I can learn. I mean, I can develop and learn through pressure, but it will eventually create more pressure in my system. It means like I'm learning a new language, but it would be like tense and really condensed one.
Definitely, definitely. And also maybe like eventually we might create some resistance to that, right? Because like
Yeah.
it would kind of blend together this feeling of being tense with, okay, I'm learning new language and it makes me tense. So it can create even some contra that like, okay, our willpower will bring us there. We will, I don't know, if I'm thinking about learning Hebrew, yes, so like to some ulpan, I would like drag myself there. I will sit there, be tensed, but my system will learn this like somatic experience of learning new language means to be tense.
Yeah.
So I think it is better to kind of uncouple that, if I use this term, like to separate that and to maybe even think about the environments where I can learn better, that are a little easier, right? Like that are for me more comfortable. And there are many ways how to learn a new language. It's kind of, I feel many times, I don't know, people who come to Israel, it's like olim chadashim or like newcomers, they are kind of having one set path. You will go to the ulpan, you will learn there the binyanim, you will learn there the vocabulary, and then you go. Like this is the way. But I feel that, okay, there are many more options that sometimes we don't realize how to learn the language, how to acquire also the social skills. So I think kind of, yeah, like, and it refers back to the environment, as we spoke, that the environment, we can choose in which environment to be more and which environment we can be less. And kind of, yeah, I think making the choice, it's a big part of easing into that little bit. That's like our
Can
system.
you share a little bit about like this little adjustment that you have made? Like you didn't go in the straight way. Like what were you doing? How do you cope to learning a new language? Like in your way, in Sharka way?
Okay, like disclaimer, I'm still learning.
Absolutely.
And
I'll have
it's like-
something to say about it also later. But yeah,
yeah. So
still
and-
learning is the name of the episode.
Yes, definitely. When I came, we lived in Beersheba, and
Yeah.
at the beginning, I tried the direct way. I went for 2 semesters of the Ulpan in the university in Ben Gurion, and I felt it really brought me back to those times when I was in Czechia learning. My first second language was German, and we had a teacher that was really cutting us after every mistake. And it's so painful to try to express yourself, and after like each small mistake you are getting like small slap, like metaphorically from the teacher. So it really brought me there, this kind of feeling so afraid to make a mistake, so I better don't speak. I felt this resistance, and even though like the teachers were fine, they were not like violent or anything, but I felt like this really like resistance to go there. It was not fun for me. And then I thought maybe I will just learn from the street, like going to the shop, going with the friends, and it helped to a certain extent. I think one good advice I got from one friend was to learn through the songs and
Through music.
through the music, yeah, because it has also the melody, it has the emotional charge, so you connect with that more. And I felt it is the way, and I love to do it until now. Like kind of if I like some song, I like to translate it for myself, and then I don't know, I'm driving and I'm like singing it, and it really comes more naturally. And then during Corona time, like I was joining like the online classes of one specific language school, which was not like Ulpan, which was really like, I think the focus was really on making people comfortable to make mistakes, to feel like we are in this together, and this kind of permission to just be you, make mistakes and again and again, and eventually, and it was fun for me. It was really like good experience, and I felt there I learned the most.
Yeah. So the point of like making it through like powerful experience, like making it fun and even childish, and even keep that in mind to that the concept of like being a child, like while approaching to a new thing. It's so beautiful, because sometimes we forget it. All the seriousness that we hold in ourselves, it's like, okay, I'll do today this mission, then after that the other one, this task, and then the other. But it can be so much fun and so much joyful to our system, like learning a new language. It can be so empowering.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like totally. Also, what you're saying, it reminds me that actually I really loved to work with kids. Like when I started to learn Hebrew, like I was teaching the yoga for the kids, and I did it in Hebrew because I felt much safer to make mistakes, to like be in this childlike mindset. And also this feeling I will not be judged by them, like 4-year-olds. So I think that's another way to enter that, and I think it really works well, because I feel if we don't feel safe, we cannot enter this like creative mindset or mistakes permitting mindset, and we cannot explore, we cannot, like, learning is much more
Strict.
constricted even, like.
Yeah, and I feel some of the people can work with that kind of method, but I don't. I feel like in my experience with highly sensitive people, when I say to a student of mine that it's okay what you're feeling right now, it's okay that you're feeling not okay, it's okay that you're not doing it perfectly, all this mindset of it's okay to make mistakes, it's just something that we haven't heard, and we really need to, as highly sensitive people. Yeah, I feel like it's a lot. There is a lot there that we can take from this episode. It's also a mindset, like telling myself that I can make mistakes while doing them and while learning new things. But it's also like being in an environment that maybe allows me more to make mistakes, to grow,
express yourself. Yeah.
To
in
explore.
The imperfect way, kind of. Yeah. I think it's true. Maybe I will kind of circle back to this orchid and dandelion theory. I think it's not so like widespread yet, maybe like in the realms of highly sensitive people, yes, but maybe it will be useful that I will just kind of recap it.
Absolutely.
Like, because I think sometimes it can get a little bit misinterpreted. So basically this theory of Thomas Boyce, who was the pediatrician, like the doctor for the kids, he recognized that around 20% of children are a bit more sensitive and more responsive for the environment. And those kids he called the dandelions, the orchids.
Yeah.
The orchids. And he noticed that they are not only more like affected by the adverse experience, like negative experience, but also they thrive more and they perform much better if they are in the supportive environment, that like they can really exceed those peers that are in the dandelion group, like people who are kind of resilient, not so responsive for the bad environment, but also not so thriving if they have very good conditions. They are like less like influenced by the environment, basically. So I think that this piece of work of him is very important, especially like to acknowledge that okay, being highly sensitive is not something to fix, that it just requires different adaptation, and that the environment we are in influencing us possibly a lot, but we can also maybe choose those environments, or like if it relates to the children, like for the children we can adapt the environment so they can grow in the way like the flower that kind of is they are inside.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. Every time I hear it, it's like giving me such an like reassurance about myself.
I love this theory too. Also, like because my website is Wildflower Somatic, so I feel like this special connection with the flowers.
With the flowers,
and this metaphor is really, really beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think that it is not known enough, not only in the education for children, but also for us as adults, to kind of acknowledge that, okay, like maybe I feel much more than the person sitting next to me, and it is not bad, it is just a different perception of the world. And I wanted to say something back to when we spoke at the beginning about these family events, like, okay, if we are, let's say you said also your partner is more like dandelion, so mine too, and it's so important to communicate it, like that, okay, like to share my inner world is impacted in this way, this is how I experience it, and yeah, I think it must be said, because the person who does not experience it in the way that you experience it would not ever imagine that, okay, what your system is taking in.
Were you seeing him, your partner, also adjusting to your culture in a way? Like, were you seeing the differences between you guys? About
Definitely,
learning?
yes. We lived together 10 years, I think almost, 10 years. It will be in December. And it would be probably weird if only one of us would be adapting.
Yeah,
so,
because you were adapting to here and the language, but I bet that he was also like adapting because maybe you guys talking English more and
definitely it was the adaptation, not only the language adaptation but the whole culture adaptation. Like at the beginning we spoke just in English, which is a challenge by itself. Like it's not his native language, not mine. Now we speak sometimes Hebrew, sometimes English, but also these cultural expectations, let's say in Israel, like, okay, people are more direct, more like less saying please, thank you, would you like to, this kind of
personal space.
Personal space. So
it's not recommended.
So I think all this needs to be negotiated in a way, also in the relationship. And also, like, what I feel that is beautiful about it, that we kind of create the life together and we are building it anew, maybe in more conscious way. I feel if two people are from the same culture, they run on default, and they can run on default the whole life because, okay, they do things how they were used to, how their parents did, or how the culture is set up, and sometimes they don't even question why they do what they do. And I feel the gift of this setup, like, okay, living with a partner from different country or different culture, it's really that you can like pause and think, okay, like this I'm bringing from my culture, is it something that I want to keep, or is it not that important, I can let it go, or so. And I think the potential is that you can like really build the life that is little like more conscious or more aware, more mindful.
That's beautiful. Yeah. It's also made me think about the flexibility of the nervous system, like when you're doing it more and more, so it gets more easy. I mean, if there's someone who is listening right now and she's just like in front of our first big step of like trying a new thing. So the first step is really hard. It's probably the hardest, like, because the nervous system is in the survival mode, as you said, and it's like very, very tense and doesn't want to go out of our comfort zone. But when we are doing it more and more, and I think in your relationship with your partner, it's like an essence to like not being in the comfort zone and asking questions, then it becomes more familiar. And then what becomes familiar to the nervous system is that plasticity, is that like flexibility instead of that rigid,
Totally. Yeah. Like, associatively, what I'm thinking, that also, let's say, the life in Israel, which, okay, sometimes brings sudden missiles or sudden disruptions to the routine, like, it also trains, in a way, our nervous system to be very adaptive, to kind of respond fast when something is happening, and then come back to the regulated state. And
absolutely.
I think that it's something I would not wish this training for.
Of course,
but it's an example like how we can also use this perspective of the nervous system, and also to give ourselves time afterwards to rebound. Maybe not to expect ourselves to like be back in the routine like immediately. Sometimes we need a little more time to digest things. Like
Yeah,
I think,
and I think it's a good metaphor, or because sometimes it does feel like a war inside a little bit when you're trying to learn something new. So I don't know, I feel like I really connect to this. Also, like the reality is like that sometimes, but also inside, a slight change can feel like it. Like trying to meditate for 2 minutes in the morning. It can be really difficult.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or also people who kind of are coming to us, like they are curious to explore some somatic movement or yoga, and maybe someone recommended to them it will be good for you if you are dealing with some like leftovers of trauma or some high stress, like do the somatics. But sometimes it's really about learning the new language, and it can be very hard first
and overwhelming.
Yeah, like
exactly.
I think that the safety is really built gradually, and also the familiarity. Like many women that I'm meeting, they kind of from very early age they were taught to orient themselves externally, to kind of put themselves aside, to
please.
Not to please the others, exactly, to be there for the others. But it also caused some disconnection, like from inside, like no one was inviting them to check with themselves how they feel, what they need in the moment. And so then when they coming like to my clinic, so then they feel okay, like it's something I don't know.
What do you mean? Like checking what's up with me? What do you mean?
Exactly. So I think it is the same or similar process as acquiring a new language, like this acquiring the new language of the body, understanding the body. And I think like a lot of time we speak about embodiment, that it's not just like dropping the attention to the body, but just realizing it is safe enough to listen to the body. That it's kind of sometimes very important step that should not be skipped.
Yeah, exactly. And how do you create this kind of safety, you as Sharka? I mean, I believe that each one of us has its own different ways to find that sense of safety. But how do you approach it?
You now mean in my personal life?
Yeah.
So I definitely take the sense of safety from the nature, like to connecting with nature. Like it really gives me this sense of being part of something bigger, and in a way also part of like being taken care of, like kind of this feeling, okay, I'm part of this beautiful big world. And like I don't know, here like when I'm in Tel Aviv, I go to the sea every day, and I really feel this connection, how important it is for me to recharge there, to kind of come back to myself, just like looking early morning to the sea, the stay still quiet, and I can really connect there with myself, and having it as the ritual, as kind of anchor in the day, to come back.
And you feel like it gives you like the ground to build on all kinds of habits and practices and learnings and...
Definitely. I think it's kind of okay, like I have my morning routine, like I go to the sea, I do a little bit of yoga, a little bit of meditation, and I think also this kind of self-check-in, like kind of how am I really, how am I underneath all these plans I have for today, what I feel, and maybe what I need today. Like maybe I feel more tired and I will need a little break between of the tasks I have. So I think this kind of somatic check-in is also very much supportive, and it's something that we can do in 2 minutes.
Absolutely. And I think that also, like you said, some of the women that are coming to you it's hard for them to like look inside. So I feel like for me, like the first thing that came in mind was like touching. It really gives me like the sense of safety, like really massaging and really touching my arms and my legs and my shoulders and my neck, like really touching it for a second and like, okay, it's there. It's like, this is like the boundary between me and the world, and I'm just making it present. For me, it's something that gives me an anchor through the day.
The immediate kind of...
Yeah, also like driving or like going through places, it's something that can really give that sense of safety, and then from that I can do something new or like choose something new and not being that circle of stress and yeah,
it sounds like it's kind of going more from the head to the body, like kind of feeling, okay, I'm here,
exactly.
I feel myself.
Exactly. And you said before about being in the state of still learning. I mean, the state of still learning is something you say about Hebrew, that you're still learning it in 10 years, but I feel like that in a way I'm also still learning Hebrew, even though it's my native tongue. We are always still learning. If we are learning something from the point of like just getting somewhere and I want to be there, then it's already stressful and not the right environment for learning for us sensitive people. But if I'm in that state of I'm still learning, like even in 10 years from now, in 20 years, I will still be learning for sure. It's not something, it's not a race. Then I'm still learning, then it's like something that really caught my mind. Also, people who are coming here to the clinic I bet you are the most flexible and the most calm person because you are practicing it for so many years. It's something that people really think because I'm doing it for many years, that it means that I must be like perfect in it. But I'm always coping and adapting, even though it's a language that I'm learning more than 20 years, like in my body. So just an anecdote that it's important to say, like when we are starting the journey of inhabiting a new language, any kind of language, we are starting. Before you came, we talk about like the difference between the luteal phase and the polycolor phase, like in the women cycle. So every day we wake up different, and for me, today it was a bit more challenging to do the podcast because I'm like 2 minutes before having my period, and it's also like that perspective of like we're always changing, also like the hormones and the processes inside of our bodies, but also the context and where we are at the world right now, and it's a time of war, it's a time of peace, it's hot, it's cold, it's summer, it's changing all the time, and so is our adaptation to it.
Definitely. I think like our microcosmos and the macrocosmos, the world outside, they are both constantly changing, right?
Yeah.
And always it's kind of the negotiation or like finding the balance between these two. And yeah, as you say, like kind of we will probably never stop learning until we die.
Yeah.
That's the final point for this lifetime at least. But it's evolving, right? Also, the language is evolving. The way how the world is operating is also changing. So we kind of keep flexible and responsive to what is outside, but also to what is inside, as you mentioned, this like hormonal changes, and this is just like just one of the systems that is in our body, right? Like other systems are also fluctuating and changing, but the hormones we feel a lot. But from this perspective, we also meet the world in different ways every day. It's like, and it's important to remember that. And maybe it's also the invitation to be a little more self-compassionate, that like some days we will not climb Mount Everest, or like some days we can stay at the sofa.
Yeah, exactly. Also, it's important to say that language is a way of any kind of expression, and that's also something in when we come to a new culture and when we try to learn a new habit. It's also that exploration of our system that is always trying to tell us that is it safe for us to behave that way, or is it not safe? Are other people are behaving that way? Can I wear short sleeves or long sleeves? I speak from my past as a religious kid. Is it okay to put some makeup, or all these kind of questions that are not necessarily words, but they are part of our language. I mean, also like my body language while I'm speak, it's something that I inhabit.
That also your expression in the world, right?
Yeah,
like that
exactly.
It's like the way how your physicality is expressed, or like even the inner world, how the inner world is expressed to the outside. And the question, is it safe here? Is it safe enough to be like myself or to express myself?
Yeah, it is around safety again. Like the sense of safety is the ground for all that expression to come.
Definitely. And I think like it just brought my memory also like to when I was traveling a lot, like to Asia, and definitely like you want to know how also others would react to that, like what is the fitting clothing, and but also how to balance it so you can feel like yourself, right?
Yeah.
And maybe again it is like exploring it, experimenting with that, and finding the environment where you feel you can express yourself well enough, that it's
and
accepted.
allow yourself to make mistakes while doing all this. Yeah.
I'm reflecting back to what we were speaking about. Like, I would want to encourage like everyone who is coming to the new culture or like going through some transition to really find those places where you can be you, and where it's not like overwhelming. So I don't know, like if the culture is intense, maybe there are some spaces where the conversation can be slower, or you can have space to finish your sentence for a change. And like thinking also out of the box, like how can I meet these needs to be in those environments and to pick them, like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said from like the point of view of the dandelion and the orchid, and I feel like that also it's important to remember how much the inner environment is such a big resource. And maybe I can add that having I call it like an endless anchor in a way, like you said about nature, that we can always look up and see the sky and remember that we are surrounded by nature, or just going a few minutes and remember it. So I encourage the people who are listening right now to find this anchor. Maybe it's not endless and maybe it would change someday, but to find something that is so profound inside and make you feel safe inside, that you can carry it wherever you go in the world. For me, I can say it's like my breath. It's something that whenever I pay attention to, it's really just reminds me something that sometimes I forget.
Wonderful. Yeah, I think it is very powerful to have the anchor that is accessible always.
Yeah.
And that you can reach always. Yeah. Like I think the breath is really great, or as you said, the touch, or like this like feeling yourself. And yeah, and the nature, I think, okay, sometimes we are not in the nature, so it feels farther. But for me, it's also a great reminder that like of this belonging to something bigger. And so like this inner and outer anchor and resource in the same time. I think
I really like the point of view of the sky. There is a Iranian poet, I think. It says like whenever you go, there is a piece of sky above your head. So it's something that really can, no matter if it's night or day, like you can just look up and see that there is a piece of sky above your head. And it's beautiful. You don't have to go to a forest or like the sea if it's too far from you. It's just there. You can look at it.
Looking up and I think that's really exactly that.
Yeah. And I really hope that this episode made you feel more encouraged to try new things and also feel really comfortable about making mistakes and trying and be a little bit childish or exploring whatever is curiousing for you. Because I think this is what it's all about. Like when we are staying stressed and being locked in our houses and not trying a new thing, it's like a fake safety. It's like we feel like we are safe, but it's not really because we're not trying and adapting and growing. So I really hope that that episode made some of you a little bit more courageous about doing new things.
I hope so also, and that our imperfect English was the encouragement and invitation.
Absolutely.
For the others to make mistakes and just trying. What you say, Shachar, it's also like really kind of if you stay like without action and closed, okay, like you really don't live fully, right? And like okay, we have limited time here, so it's a pity to not to use it, to experiment, to learn, to play.
Exactly. I mean, one of our fears is like getting hurt, but it's one of the great strengths to like being hurt, to allow ourselves to get hurt. I mean, not physically, not like hurting ourselves, but to go through the places that are we most fear about.
To go with the open heart and like
and when we learn new stuff, we probably will meet a part of ourselves that we afraid to meet. So I'll say that all the information that you want to know about me and Sharka, it's in the description of the episode. If you like the episode and our English, then you are more than welcome to share it and tag us or just leave a comment. It would really help us to get to more women and highly sensitive women who really needs that kind of content. And thank you so much, Sharka.
Thank you, Shachar, for inviting me. It was really a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you.